When you get a chance. It was just really quick. I wanted to introduce you to. This is our Juneteenth meet committee. Yeah. That's Charisse. This is Marjorie. This is our power hitter. This is the one that got the news for the Juneteenth flag going on. And Forest Park. We didn't talk about that on there. Okay, so we got a couple of things we need to cover. Okay, so I want to make sure we do this. Okay. Like I went over there. I'm gonna let her work.
Hey man, how are you? Oh, good to meet you. I'll pay $22 and I just have something to see.
Yeah, no, and I'm wondering how come it's now because the van driver and my husband is
I'll be happy to support.
I don't even know where. Yeah, we just came straight in and that's yes, I do. Okay, so you have
It's good to see everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll introduce you.
They can just walk up. It's like, here you go. I feel like everybody just do that.
Not today.
Done it every time.
How you doing, Reverend Jackson? Pleased to meet you. Reverend Jesse Jackson.
What's the game plan though? I'm in leadership. I gotta go down the day before the call.
Reverend Jesse Jackson. Mine. You want to meet Jesse Jackson?
Where you at?
Up there. I just talked to him.
Jesse Jackson?
Yeah,
I'm taking a picture.
Yeah, I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna introduce you to him. I'm We're going up there to meet Jesse Jackson. He's right up there. It's in the food.
Were you like,
Put in the phone so I can take pictures. I don't have mine.
good?
Mine. Brother Jackson. This is Reverend Amon Shepherd. He's the youngest licensed minister in the state of Illinois.
Can I take a picture with you? Can you take a
Okay. Take one of me and send it to me.
Okay.
Got me? And you can send it to me. Okay?
Nice to meet you.
Reverend Jesse Jackson. Reverend Jesse Jackson.
Oh, Lord.
Let's speak to
History, sir. History, sir. God is good. And where else but Illinois? We pushed it before, we need to push it again. And the fact that you quit playing. God is good. And you look sharp too. You got you some band-aids with you? Because you're sharp, you might cut somebody.
Stephanie. Take a picture. Yeah, take
Marjorie.
Stephanie. Take a picture.
May I have a picture with you, sir? Look, this is Jesse Jackson. Stand up.
Stephanie.
Okay. Oh, well, thank you, sir. Jesse, it is an honor. It is an honor and a privilege that you are here in Illinois, where we made waves in 1865, and here in 2021, we're making waves again, sir. Right on. Thank you. God bless you for being here.
Everything that you've done. Hi, how are you?
Oh, man.
We're Mayor Lightfoot, Mayor Chicago, Illinois.
Always Jaffer. Good to see you.
Maybe we'll do what happens.
You can start line up behind it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Sir.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
That's what I figured. I mean, nobody had our back.
And then Gabby.
I was trying to chase you down and get the picture, but you like,
Excuse us.
I love it. I love it. All right, girl. I love it. That's a good one.
Yeah, you're just kind of straight up.
Juneteenth.
I got much more respect for God.
John called me today, told me about it.
Get ready.
guys keep moving closer to me.
We gon' bring this world to its knees. Move mountain, bring them to its Move mountain, bring him to his feet. We'll rise up. We'll rise like the day. We'll rise up. We'll rise unafraid. We'll rise up. And we'll do it 1,000 times again. Listen to me. We'll rise up. We'll rise just like the day. We'll rise up. And we'll rise unafraid. We'll rise up. And we'll do it 1,000 times again. Listen to me when I say. And we'll do it 1,000 times again. Yes, we will. For you. For you. For you.
That was Miss Opal Staples singing Rise Up by Andra Day. And fun fact, I learned that Opal is a member of the Staples family. So let's give her another round of applause. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is Candace Moore, and I serve as the Chief Equity Officer here in the city of Chicago. We are so grateful to have you all gathered with us today as we raise the Juneteenth flag, which I learned was the first time we're raising the Juneteenth flag, as a lead up to the holiday this Saturday, June 19th. As I look into the audience, there are certainly more names than I have time to mention, and I also don't want people mad at me for not mentioning them. But I do want to acknowledge that we have our friends and colleagues from City Council and from City Hall. So if you want to just raise your flag and let folks know who you're here. We also have our friends from Cook County. If you want to raise your flag. And also some of our friends from the state of Illinois, if you want to raise your flag. And certainly, last but not least, our friends and our leaders from community who have helped us ensure that Juneteenth stays alive. If you will just do a raise of your flag so we know you're here. This Juneteenth ceremony has been a special collaboration with community and government to make sure the City of Chicago took stock of this moment. This has been especially important for me because of its alignment with our initiative, Together We Heal, led by the Office of Equity and Racial Justice. This initiative has created opportunities for community members and government stakeholders to work together to advance racial healing by reflecting on our past, both the trials and the triumphs, reclaiming our present, establishing a new principles of engagement and how we will get our work done, and reimagining our future, working together to bring a more inclusive community into our reality. I want to give a special thanks to our dynamic planning team. So we are pleased to be co-sponsoring this with the Black Caucus. And a special shout out to Alderman Haddon and her office. I also want to thank the Black Remembrance Project, specifically Lucretia Burns and T.J. Crawford. And I also want to take the Juneteenth Illinois Committee, Commissioner Deere for his leadership there. And countless other partners who are working all across the city to make sure this Juneteenth is memorable. I'm grateful for your leadership and for your partnership. So without further ado, I want to get things started and introduce someone who certainly needs no introduction at all, but it's someone who has been a fierce champion of equity and diversity. So please welcome our mayor of the city of Chicago, Mayor Lori E. Lightfoot.
Good morning, everyone. How are you feeling today on this beautiful, beautiful June day? And the fact that we are now fully open, the largest city in the country to do so, and that we are able to gather together is a remarkable accomplishment, and it's because of all of you and people who across this city have understood the necessity of sacrifice that has brought us from a mighty long way to this moment, and I'm grateful to be here with all of you celebrating Juneteenth. I'd also like to call out a few of our leaders that are here on the stage with us. First, let me identify and call out Illinois Senate Majority Leader Kimberly Lightfoot. Senator Lightfoot is an education champion. She is really the moral compass of the Senate and really the General Assembly. I don't think she gets nearly the credit that she deserves for the things that she has done to champion our children and make sure that equity has real meaning in the state legislature. Senator Lightfoot, thank you so much. Candace recognized Cook County Commissioner Dennis Deere. I want to thank him also for his leadership statewide and making sure that we are coordinated in our efforts around Juneteenth. Let me also call out and recognize Alderman Jason Urban, who is the chair of the City Council Black Caucus. Congressman, or maybe I'm promoting you. Maybe I'm promoting you. Alderman Urban has been a fearless champion for all things related to the Black community, West Side, South Side, North Side. He has challenged me and challenge us to make sure that we never forget the importance and the history of Black Chicago. Thank you, Alderman Irvin. I also want to call out Alderwoman Maria Hatton, who has also been at the forefront of making sure that Juneteenth is recognized in our city. Thank you, Alderman Hatton. Candace mentioned the Black Remembrance Project, and I want to call out in particular Lucretia Burtz and TJ Crawford. I also want to recognize two other folks who are here with us today, and that's the Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. Reverend. And also one of our great congressional leaders, Congressman Bobby Rush. Congressman. And I do want to also recognize the members of the City Council Black Caucus who are here. I wonder if you would stand and be recognized. Candace recognized some of our members from the General Assembly who are here, but I also would invite them to stand, some of whom are standing and wave. And thank you all for being here and for supporting this initiative. And we got to give another round of applause to Opal Staples and Corey Wilkes, our musical performance this morning. Opal, your voice is such a gift, and your singing really, I think, spoke to who we are and what our spirit needs in this moment. So thank you very much for gracing us with your presence. For over 400 years, the contributions of Black people have stitched together the social and economic fabric of this country, meaning that Black folks are inextricably tied to America's founding and foundation and success. Days like Juneteenth remind the world that Black history is truly American history, and provide us with an important opportunity to reflect on the continued work we must do to create a society where all Black folks have free, unrestricted access to the resources that we need to enjoy the full measure of citizenship. Juneteenth, also known as Emancipation Day, is a day that holds great historical significance. On June 19, 1865, a Declaration of Freedom was issued in Galveston, Texas, that freed the Black people who were enslaved 3 years after the Emancipation Proclamation in 1862. A year later, in 1866, formerly enslaved Black people in Texas would organize the first Juneteenth celebration, helping to not only bring in a new era of independence for Black people in the United States, but beginning of a long journey towards equity and inclusion, a journey that continues today. Slavery might have officially ended in 1865, but we are still grappling with the vestiges of that original sin here today. From historic neighborhood disinvestment to institutionalized racism that holds our people back from realizing their God-given potential just because of the color of their skin. These inequities continue to keep far too many Black folks away from opportunities and upward mobility. And we cannot simply stand idly by and continue to allow that to happen. We must rise up, as the song says. We must call out this institutionalized racism that plagues our neighborhoods and robs our children of their ability to reach their fullest potential. In order to address these inequities once and for all, it is absolutely critical. Now this part is important. It is absolutely critical that we work together and that we form a united front against racism, discrimination, and whatever forms that it may take. Now, Black folks are not a monolith that we all can attest, and we may not agree on every issue. But if we work against each other and we destroy the progress that we could be making together, we are hurting another generation of young people. So united, we must stand. Now, accomplishing this goal obviously takes time, but what it also takes is diligence and focus and intentionality. It also requires us to work from the same version of history, the true version of history, so that we may use the past to guide us as we move forward into our future and destiny. To erase the history of Juneteenth is not only a great disservice to Black folks, both here in Chicago and across the country, but a great disservice to our collective memory. I, like many others, didn't even know anything about Juneteenth until I was an adult. And that's because it has never been treated with the reverence that it should be. You look at our history books, the history books that are used to teach our children, and you may only see a passing reference, if at all. We must change that. Juneteenth deserves more than a passive mention in a textbook or headline. Here in Chicago, we are taking an important step forward to ensure Juneteenth receives its proper recognition. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to announce that starting next year, the City of Chicago will officially recognize Juneteenth as a city holiday to fully honor its history and legacy. We are doing this because Juneteenth must be treated like any other of the special days we observe and celebrate here in the U.S., one of which happens to be here today. Every year on June 14th, our country has come together to celebrate Flag Day. This holiday, which has been officially observed for over a century, commemorates the adoption of the U.S. flag on June 14, 1777, by the Second Continental Congress. It celebrates the stars and stripe design that has become synonymous with freedom, albeit for too long of our history, not freedom for all. We must also recognize that freedom has been illusory for far too many American residents, including Black people. So we must embrace all American history, and today, on Juneteenth, we will be raising another flag, the Juneteenth flag. And let me tell you about that. The Juneteenth flag was created by Ben Haith in 1997. Haith, founder of the National Juneteenth Celebration Foundation, initiated the first flag-raising ceremony that same year, 1997, in Boston, Massachusetts. The flag features the same red, white, and blue of the American flag to remind us that Black people built this country and are American citizens. The white star at the center of the flag represents not only the Lone Star State, where the original Juneteenth celebrations began, but also represents the freedom of Black Americans across the country. The burst which surrounds the star is a nova, or a new star, and represents the new beginning that Juneteenth provided for Black Americans. And the last feature is the arc, which extends across the width of the flag and represents a new horizon and new opportunity for Black Americans. This flag, as well as the Pan-African flag, are important symbols of Black history, and as a result, American history. Now, we may not have the power to change the past, but we do have a responsibility to take an honest look at that past, address its modern-day impacts, and work to prevent mistakes and atrocities from ever repeating themselves again. By doing this, as well as putting on celebrations like today's flag raising and our overall Juneteenth celebrations, we will not only be able to pay homage to those who lost their lives or endured slavery here in the U.S., but we will also be able to carry the torch forward and keep their legacies alive. Ladies and gentlemen, our young people need to know our history. Too many of them growing up and not knowing not only about the struggle, but about the triumphs and the accomplishments of Black people in this country from day one. We need to change that around. So that I hope as these Juneteenth celebrations continue to blossom, that part of what we do is teach that history so that we know it for ourselves and that we can pass it down to further generations. Our young people should not be growing up thinking that our history in this city, in this country, is limited. No, our history is rich and vibrant and needs to be celebrated and embraced. We need to do that, and we owe that obligation to our young people. We need to pass this torch forward so that it not only illuminates the path ahead, but brings us a better and brighter future. So this Flag Day and this Juneteenth, let's make sure that we honor the many, many contributions that Black folks have made to this city, to this state, and this country, and recommit ourselves to the fight for equity and inclusion, and freedom for all. These can't just be empty words. As the Bible says in James, faith without works is dead. So we need to make sure that we get manifest to our works every single day to bring alive who we are and the model that we want to create for our children to emulate. So thank you very much. God bless all of us. Happy to be here. Happy Juneteenth.
And next up, I'm pleased to welcome Commissioner Dearson.
I've never been mistaken as dear in life, so it's all good. The West Side it is. West Side is the best side.
West side! West side! West side!
Watch out for this. Well, first off, I want to thank Mayor Lightfoot. Actually, some of the words that I was going to say, she has said. But I also want to thank our champion in our caucus for this today and has been on this issue since her beginning with us in the City Council. That's Alderwoman Maria Hatton. Let's give her a hand. Also, our colleagues in Springfield, Senator Lightfoot, and also my county commissioner, Dennis Deer, for leading the charge here at the county. And that's why I said the West Side was the best side. Because all of it represents the West Side. So again, the great thing about this is that Juneteenth for us is a day of celebration, a day of remembrance, a day of triumph over the horrid debauchery of slavery. It's not just enough for us to have a barbecue, to have a parade, to just sit back and think about just the positive, but we have to continue to push, as Mayor Lightfoot has pushed here in the city of Chicago, to make Juneteenth a national recognized holiday. Because when we look back and we look at the blood, the sweat, the tears that our people have put in creating what we know is the United States of America, the US of A today would not be what it is now without the work of what our community and what our ancestors did to make the US what it is today. And for that, we need recognition. Again, even in Chicago, we talk about segregation, the denial of fair rights, entertainment, sports. All of these things have been created and worked on for people of descendants of slaves. And again, our recognition, and it's time for that for us to be due. So with that, I want to just say thank you, and we want to recognize our ancestors, recognize the blood, sweat, and tears that they put in to making us who we are today. And again, I want to thank the mayor and to thank the members of our caucus for pushing to make this day possible, to make Juneteenth a reality for all Chicagoans. Thank you, and God bless you.
Good morning, everybody. So I want to thank all of my colleagues, the mayor's team, everyone on this stage and everyone in the audience, thank you for making this day possible. I'm honored to be with you all today on this momentous occasion. So this is our first day of observance for Juneteenth in Chicago. So thank you to the Black Remembrance Project for asking me to be the lead sponsor on this legislation. I want to thank staffers in my office for the 49th Ward, especially Torrance Gardner and Tiffany Liner for all of your work in seeing this through. And to my colleagues in City Council for all of your support. Especially Alderman David Moore, who's the first to sign on as a co-sponsor for this legislation. And then of course, I want to thank Mayor Lightfoot and her team for your partnership and all of your efforts and the efforts to come. So I only want to take a few minutes here just to briefly share 3 reflections about this holiday and why it's so important. So first, justice and healing require truth. Juneteenth is about Black liberation. It's about Black freedom. Our city, like our nation, still has so much work to do to reckon with our past and current systemic racism. Some would have us ignore our history, gloss over it, in service to just moving on. They tell us that our calls to acknowledge the wrongs that we faced are dividing us. But don't heed their call. Do not be silent, for there can be no healing without truth and reconciliation. As Ida B. Wells said, the way to right wrongs is to turn the light of truth upon them. Celebrating Juneteenth is an opportunity for us all to shine that light. Second, celebration can be an act of resistance. Keeping traditions alive in community spaces and organizing to lift each other up in the face of oppression is a radical act of love. This day of observance is more than a hat tip to popular demand. We began our efforts in 2019, looking to mark the 400 years since the first known enslaved Africans were brought to this land. In a time when we must continuously remind ourselves and our neighbors that Black Lives Matter, the resurgence of Juneteenth celebrations around our nation is both celebration and resistance. Finally, resistance and struggle are necessary for there to be progressive change. In Frederick Douglass's famous speech, "If there's no struggle, there's no progress," he reminds us that power concedes nothing without demand. Juneteenth makes me think of these words because that freedom that was granted wasn't really the freedom that was promised. For those who don't know, Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation in January of 1863. And Juneteenth marks the date in June 1865 when enslaved people in Galveston, Texas learned that they were free. So this means that they were kept enslaved for 2 more years past emancipation. 2 years. So though the people of Galveston rightly celebrated their new freedom, it was with the knowledge that 2 additional years had been stolen from them. The centuries that followed have brought us progressively closer to equality for Black Americans, but not without a fight for each and every gain. And with each victory, there's been a backlash, some attempt at keeping Black people oppressed. Even now, systemic racism affects our access to education, wellness, housing, wealth building, and justice. But as I stand before you now in 2021, as one of the first Black alderpersons elected to represent the north side of the city, as a member of a 20-person strong aldermanic Black caucus, and with the first Black woman to serve as mayor of the city of Chicago, right? And amongst amazing community and government partners, I know that the struggles of our ancestors have yielded progress. In closing, we've come a long way, but still have so far to go. And so Juneteenth should be a day for Chicagoans of all races to reflect on what we must do to heal, how we can lift each other up in community, and should be a day to renew our commitments to the struggle for justice, equality, and equity. Thank you again to each of you who's made today's celebrations possible. Commissioner Deere.
Thank you so much, Alderwoman Haddon, and thank you for your work on Juneteenth. Good morning.
Good morning.
I always start out by saying God is good.
Yes, all day.
And all the time. Because it is in Him that we live, we move, and we have our being. And had it not been for Him, we wouldn't even be here today. So I'm thankful. I'm also thankful for our wonderful mayor, Lori Lightfoot. Give her a round of applause. Thank you for being a trendsetter, Mayor. The mayor got up here and said we need to start a fund for black folks. That's some out-of-the-box stuff there. Juneteenth is going to be a holiday in the city of Chicago. No, you can clap. As we say on the west side, that's what's up. Listen, this is an important holiday. It's an important segment. I'm thankful for so many individuals who are here, even on this day. Leader Lightfoot, who sponsored Juneteenth in the Senate, and that is passed. Representative Sean Ford in the House, that is passed, is waiting on the governor's signature. Thank you to T.J. Crawford for Black Culture Week. Yeah. Thank you to Lucretia for the Black Remembrance Project. To all the members of the Cook County Joint Committee for Juneteenth. Why don't you stand? If you were here, stand. Where you at? Stand. This is a collective of city, county, state, community, all coming together to celebrate Juneteenth. But don't get me wrong. It isn't about celebrating Juneteenth. It's just a holiday. Juneteenth is every single day. Because somewhere somebody is being mistreated. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are not truly free until we've got some equity. I was glad to see Sister Candace representing the city around equity. I'm glad that Madam President Prattwinkle created a $100 million equity fund. Why? Because we need some equity. And let me say this, equity and equality are two different things, right? Some people get that twisted, use them interchangeably, but they're two different things. Equity is about what we need. Equality is what we want. Equality is giving me my fair shake of the pie today. Equity is giving me some back taxes. Come on, let's keep it 100. If we're going to do it, we have to keep it 100. We are pushing, Juneteenth, Illinois is pushing equity. It is about us going to the next level. So not just June 19th, but every single day of this year. And next year, this time, we should be talking about the accomplishments of this year. Excuse me. So as I take my seat, it is important that we are free. And I'm glad to see Brother Jesse Jackson here. He is a brother of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. And we got a lot of Divine Nine in here. Divine Nine, make some noise. Divine Nine was a key component of Juneteenth. But let me end with this. Dr. King talked about freedom. He said, when we allow freedom to reign, when we allow freedom to reign from every tenement and every hamlet, every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of that old Negro spiritual. Free at last. Come on with me. Free at last. Thank God Almighty. We are free at last. We can't sing that till we get equity. God bless you. I got to introduce somebody else. I got happy. My sister is not only a leader in the state senate, leader Kimberly Lightford, but she don't play. I sit and watch her from afar. She don't play. If she believes something, she getting ready to tell you. It's no mistake that she's a sister of Delta Sigma Theta. It's no mistake. So, without further ado, my sister, Senator Kimberly Lightford, leader in the Senate. Give her a round of applause.
Thank you, my brother. I see all these little pinky fingers in the front row. To God be the glory for the things He has done in my life. We stand on the shoulders of giants. Do you not stand on somebody's shoulders that brought you here? Jesse, Congressman, thank you. We stand on your shoulders. All of us do. And today, we celebrate taking a stand to keep Black history alive by making Juneteenth National Freedom Day a state holiday. Yes, it's a state holiday. So if the city and the council and the commissioners want to do a little bit more, then the state by all means. But nothing should be less than the state holiday. I would like to thank Mayor Lori Lightfoot, the City Council Black Caucus, and definitely the Illinois Legislative Black Caucus for this fight in celebrating how far our country has come. Juneteenth is a day that all Black people should remember. All Black people. It was the day that the last slaves were freed after our colleague just said 2 whole years later. How that message didn't get down there, I don't know. But 2 years in additional enslavement. And it's a part of our journey that should be celebrated with pride and joy. And it deserves, and it will be included in our students' history books. We're going to put this in the history books. I, along with Representative LaShawn Ford, we passed the House Bill 3922. We actually gave the governor a few options. We sent him a Senate bill and a House bill. The governor is going to make that a paid holiday on this week. He's going, The governor is planning a special signing ceremony in Springfield.
Wow.
I can't ad-lib, but I don't want to right now, so I might go too far. The governor is planning a special ceremony, and I do appreciate his unwavering support. We led this charge because Black history is American history. The emancipation of our ancestors should be honored, just like any other memorable moment in our nation's past. We must continue to ensure our story is told, and that starts with ensuring Juneteenth is declared a state holiday. And I truly hope and pray that all of us will take a moment on June 19th to reflect on all of our family members who brought us to this point, the sacrifices that Big Mama made, the sacrifices that whomever was in your household that told you that you can be what the school books was not telling you that you already were. We want to make sure that we remember them on that day. And in the oldest national celebration of the freedom of all slaves in this country, let us also remind us how far our society has come, but how much work there is still yet to do. Thank you all.
Hello, everyone.
My name is Lucretia Birds. I am both the co-chair of the Black Remembrance Project and also the Chicago Juneteenth Planning Coalition. Thank you all so much for being with us on this hot day in this burning sun. I'm so grateful for everybody's presence. I'm also so very grateful for all of the legislators who are making Juneteenth a holiday at the state, city, and county level. Like, can we get an applause for all of them? Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mayor Lightfoot, for declaring that Juneteenth will be a holiday in the city of Chicago. I am so excited for this. This is what the Black Remembrance Project set out to do in 2019. And 2 years later, right, we are here and we celebrate this. And I actually, for the Black Remembrance Project members in the audience, please rise. I want to just pay homage to these sisters here. There are also other people who are not here today who, when I called for us to make this a holiday in 2019, they took action. They were with me the whole entire ride through. We made a petition, we called legislators, you know, we mobilized our community. And I hope that Juneteenth is a day that, you know, Black members of the community, that we do that for not just legislation for a holiday, for other things in our community as well. So I look forward to the future of Juneteenth in that regard. But I just want to take a minute